Okay, hello, everybody, and welcome to the International Student Panel session. So we are so happy that you're here, and we are really excited to hear from our student panelists today. So just for a bit of background on this session, this is part of the International Student Orientation series. And so if you've missed any other ISO sessions, please be sure to take a look at the recordings. Thank you. So we'll begin our session with a land acknowledgement. So, Simon Fraser University respectfully acknowledges the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Katsi, Wikwitlam, Kaikait, Kwantlen, Semiahmoo, and Sawasan peoples on whose unceded traditional territories our three campuses reside. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with this thing that we just did, maybe you have never seen it before or you've seen it kind of in previous sessions, this is a land acknowledgement. So this is just something that we do before the start of events to remind ourselves that we are on shared Indigenous lands. Canada has a long and complicated history with its Indigenous peoples, and so we do this in part to remember that history and to honor the Indigenous peoples on whose lands we are on. So, as international students to Canada, we'd greatly encourage for you to learn more about the Indigenous cultures and peoples here, and the hope is that land acknowledgements at least spark some interest in knowing more. So, thank you for listening to that. Okay, and so I'll just go over the agenda real quick. So, we're just starting off with some welcome and introductions, which is what we just did. Then we're going to get into a little bit of an introduction to the international services for students, just going over international student support and resources for you all. Then we'll get into the real meat of this session, which is the panel discussion and Q&A. And then at the very end, we will have an opportunity for an additional Q&A, just in case there were any questions that you wanted to ask that weren't covered by the panel or by the other Q&As. Finally, we'll close off, and then you'll all be free to enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Okay, so who are we? Who are the people here? So, I'm Chanel. I'm the International Student Engagement Lead, and you'll mostly see me around the Global Student Center or at any other events that the ISS will be holding. Next, we have Zoreen, who is the student transition educator. She will be the one facilitating and leading the panel, and will be the one that you will hear the most of from today. Lastly, we have Ishani, who's the coordinator for International Student Experience. She will be helping out with some of the Q&A sessions and generally providing support throughout the panel. So, thank you all. It's very nice to meet you. And yeah, so an introduction to the International Services for Students. So this is the department that we're all under, and we provide core support to international students with advice relating to your study permits, visas, and work eligibility. We can also guide you on medical insurance requirements, which I'm sure you've all attended the previous orientation on medical insurance. So that's part of what we do. We also try and offer transition support to new students, such as these orientation sessions that you are attending today. On top of that, we administer the study abroad programs, such as international exchanges and field schools, and we also offer unique support to refugee and newcomer communities. So anything regarding the international student experience can be found here at the ISS. So please do not hesitate to contact us in whatever way we can. And so, how do we contact the ISS? How do we get in touch? So we got three ways to do that. So you can come to us in person at all three campuses. We have appointments and drop-ins depending on your preference. We also offer virtual appointments and drop-ins sessions. So if that's also your preference, we got that too. And lastly, we just have our email. So that's international_advising@sfu.ca. And if you want, you can scan over here if you want to know more about the specifics of appointments and drop-ins. Okay, thank you. And lastly, I'd like to talk about the Global Student Center. So this is a dedicated space for international students. So it's more than just a space to enjoy lounge and free snacks. It's also a welcoming hub designed to support international students and help you feel connected. So we host a variety of social events and offer drop-in partner services, including wellness guidance, career advising, academic writing support, and more. So if you ever have the opportunities and you're free on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays from 12:30 to 3:30 p.m., please be sure to drop on by because we would love to have you here. And I hope that some of you will become familiar faces at the GSC. So I'm just going to pass it off to Zoreen for the panel introductions. Thank you all very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Chanel, and thank you, audience, for all your patience. There's a lot that you just heard about. And now for some juicy details and to meet our five fabulous student panelists. So as you see on the screen, but hey, I think the great reveal, you can actually see them pinned to your video screen now. I'd like to introduce all five of our brilliant people here. We've got Salma, we have Lawrence, we have Natalie, we have Muskan, and we have Minnie. If we can begin, could you each share with us, obviously, your first name, your faculty, your major, and the number of year of study that you're in right now? And then if you're so inclined, we would love to hear what is the last country that you have visited, or what's a country that you are interested in visiting if you had a magic wand. Can I begin with Minnie?
Hello everyone, my name is Minnie. I'm in BD School of Business and my major is Human Resource and I'm in my fourth year of study and my last country that I've been to is Japan and it's also my favorite country as well. And nice having you all here to join us.
Yeah, thank you, Minnie. And your last country. So sometimes it's like, what was most recent in my memory bank that was positive? I love that. Over to you, Selma.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Salma. I'm in the Faculty of Environment. My major is Resource and Environmental Management. I'm in my third year of study, and the last country I visited was Bangkok, Thailand, and I would love to visit Cancun, Mexico next.
Oh, wow, nice. So from Thailand and Mexico, so far apart yet so connected in this global world. Thank you, Selma. Over to you, Muskan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Muskan, and I'm in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. I'm majoring in psychology. I'm in my fourth year of study, and a country that I would love to visit is Japan.
Is also Japan. Oh, wow. Maybe, yeah, maybe there's going to be a repeat visit over there. Thank you for that, Muskan. And over to you, Natalie.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie and I'm in the School of Business, BA School of Business, and my major is in MIS, which stands for Management Information System, and I'm in my third year, currently going to fourth soon this fall. And one country I would like to visit is Italy. I want to do the Dolomites hike because I'm a big outgoing and hiker.
Wow. And also here in BC, we have a lot of hiking. So perhaps I'm already going to volunteer Natalie to be a little bit of a support in that area. But yeah, Italy is definitely different and cool. Thank you for that. And not to end and be last, but Lawrence, let's pull it in. A little intro from you, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Lawrence. I'm in the Faculty of Environment. My major is Geographic Information Systems, and the last country I've been to was South Africa.
Was South Africa. Nice. That's definitely on my bucket list as well. So these are the five panelists that are going to take us through the next, let's say, hour of sharing some information about their experiences and hopefully giving you some tips. And maybe we could start screen sharing again and we can just take a little look at the topics in particular that hopefully you signed up because you were interested in these things. But all five of our panelists will be talking about their transition experiences into SFU. They will be talking about how they navigated academics because, hey, you may have done some academics in high school, but university is a bit different. We're also going to take you through a couple of campus resources so that when you get here, or if you're already here, that you know that there are supports out there to help you along the way. You're not alone. And then also making connections, having some form of a social life, having some sort of a circle of people that you can call yours and that you feel comfortable with can sometimes be the make or break of a really good experience. So we're hopeful that over the next hour, you might hear something that piques your interest or prompts you to do something that maybe you may not have thought of before. In terms of our protocol, just a few things you may or may not have already realized, but the chat function will be disabled if it isn't already. But questions may come up in your head, so we do have a Q&A where you can pop it in, and we have our team members on the other end who will be collating some of these. If there are questions that you also like to hear, please vote them up so that we can start prioritizing the ones that have the most interest. And also as a reminder, this is a panel discussion about general life experiences for students. It's not a one-on-one opportunity for you to get whatever your specific need is. So if possible, just keep in mind that we're talking about these 4 topics: transitioning, navigating academics, resources, and making connections. So I think we're ready to get started. Panelists, drum roll for question number 1, which we have 2 parts, question A and question B. And so we're going to begin with question A. What was the biggest adjustment that you had to make when transferring to SFU? And then after that, based on this, we're going to come back around and ask you each, what is one thing you wish you knew that may help the new students in the room start their journey? So I think to start us off, Minnie, I'm going to start off with you. What was one of the biggest adjustments, Minnie, that you had to make when transferring to SFU?
So for me, because I'm going into a completely new country and a new environment, and I don't have any families here, so I have to learn about all the resources or like services that I can get from SFU, and I also have to know like where I can get these services as well.
And is there any specific way on how you found out how to get those services?
I just like search on it and by joining different like orientation event as well, and also like try my best to step out of my comfort zone to meet friends and to talk more with people, like talk with different people to know about like more information as well.
Yeah, totally. I like hearing that the idea of stepping out of our comfort zone. A lot of things that we do in life are the things that come easily or that we feel comfortable with, but sometimes you got to do exactly the opposite. So thanks for that. How about you, Lawrence? What was one of the biggest adjustments you had to make when transferring to SFU?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges was just adjusting to the fast-paced nature of like the classes at SFU.
Yeah.
Weeks go by so quickly, so you just have to be like on top of your game.
And I feel like we have a couple of tips coming along that side, but was there any time that you remember you weren't on top of your game and like what happened as a result of that?
Yeah, when you fall behind, it's generally difficult to catch up. So
Yeah.
you end up like having like 2-3 weeks of like backlog, and it affects like your grade as you go on.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes you don't realize it until you realize it, and sometimes it could be too late. So start from the beginning and be really, really particular. Yeah, I like that. How about you, Natalie? Something to add?
So one big adjustment I had to make is to get familiarize myself with the size of the Burnaby campus, and also like we have other 2 campuses in SFU because it's relatively a big campus, especially for international student. And yeah, not like try to navigate before like classes start because it's easier and it makes your life like easier to not late for especially for your first class, right? And we do have like an app so you can search it up. It's called SFU Snap. Yeah, for just like helping you navigate where the rooms are.
Yeah, fully. I mean, even as a staff member, I feel like I've been here for almost 10 years and I still have to use that app to get around. And in terms of like the timing of stuff, Natalie, you know how sometimes when you have to choose your classes and a class could end and then your next class begins like 15 minutes later. Have you found at the Burnaby campus that 15 minutes is enough in between, or like what would be that sweet spot of the gap between classes, or even 5 or 10 minutes for that matter?
I would say going from like this end to another end of the campus, I think give your time around 20 to 30 minutes for like buffer time to move between classes because it's a huge campus and you don't want to, rush to your other classes because sometimes your previous class might go overtime, so which makes you late for the other class. Yeah. So I think like 30 minutes would be ideal.
Yeah, I like hearing that a lot. So those in the audience, if you are at the Burnaby campus, what we're hearing here is a 30-minute buffer would be great. Surrey campus and Vancouver campus, a little bit smaller, but also sometimes it's just nicer to be on the safe side. Yeah, thank you. I'm just wondering, Muskan, anything you might want to add? Something about your biggest adjustment that you had to make? I think you're still muted. Sorry about that, Muskan. Yeah.
For me, the biggest one was just coming here, living in the dorms alone, and just living by myself in a room where I had to figure everything out by myself. Yeah.
And so, you know what the next question is going to be. What did you do about that? Living alone and figuring out things. That sounds like a real reality of what's going to happen to many students. So, any quick tip on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes that can feel scary, especially it was for me as an introverted international student.
Yeah.
So, one tip that comes to my mind was to just make the most of the experiences that SFU, and if you're living in residence, that residence has to offer. So, for me, it was just going to events, even though